Hey guys, welcome to iNVision Prototypes. Nick here. Today I'm working on the rear trunk area of the M40C build. Basically to create all the panels, all the structural panels in this area that keep all the outside elements from the wheel well from coming into the trunk. We have to take also and reinforce this tub here, this flange. So we'll create a piece that extends down and picks out the outside skin. We're going to make a few pieces through here that transition down and pick up the outside fender lip to reinforce that from moving around. I'm going to get some cardboard out, bend up a few pieces, mock them up, and come up with a design for this area. If I could only get that to stay, give you guys an idea of what we're going to be doing here. Okay, we're going to have four main pieces here. We're going to have one piece, this piece here, which basically connects the trunk floor to this angled piece here. And this angled piece is going to sweep all the way around and butt into a vertical piece that gets installed in this area here. This angled piece is going to have a flange along the bottom that the exterior fender skin attaches to. These cars with these big fenders always broke through these areas here. They always moved around if it wasn't properly braced. Now in terms of the fender lip here, this tub, we'll create an arched piece that comes down and connects the outside skin with this flange over here. We'll have a closeout panel that rolls down and extends this surface down into the bottom and picks up this leg of this piece here. And then we're going to create a flat piece that, with a hole in it, that gets welded to this flange and connects along this tub area here. So let's get these cardboard pieces, transfer out some sheet metal, lay them all out, cut them out, bend them up, install them. And then once this area is finished off and pinned, we can take and work our wheel arch and wheel tub down into this section here. Okay, boys and girls. So we've got this first piece of this trunk structure in place here, or this inner fender well structure, whichever we want to look at it. We'll still need to roll a radius or a flange along the bottom edge here to come out. This here piece is the top piece that extends out from the trunk floor and down and picks this area, this edge up here over here. What I have to do now is go over the brake, bend up both sides. Actually, I'm going to do it at the same time, put them in the brake, bend up both sides, and start working this piece in. We also have to take and roll a small flange over and pick this edge up here so we can spot weld that lip there. The only problem is that I've removed my tipping wheel from where I had it located because we had to set up a special brake for the rockers. So I'm going to show you guys a little trick you guys can do using a hard surface with a small radius on it to give yourselves a flange if you ever needed to, if you're ever in a pinch. So welcome to my ProForm 5000 brake. Just trying to orient these panels as to how we need to bend them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off this fence here so we can have a softer radius when we bend it up. I don't want a sharp crease. So just back it off about 3/8 of an inch. There. Locate our two panels. And bend it up. As you see here, we have a nice soft radius right now. We have to make sure that this is parallel with the flange that's clamped in the brake right now. That's pretty close there. This is the driver's side. We need to roll that flange down in a minute, but I want to create a seat in this top surface to mate up with the trunk flange there. Basically, it'll be an offset in this panel so we don't have any raw edges sticking up inside the trunk. Put the panel in this way. I've already transposed the marks onto this side. Line things up about there. Okay guys, so that's the first half of the brake. Now we need to move over to your left 1/8 of an inch on both sides here and create a second brake upwards to create a level surface. The only problem is we can't get the panel in tight enough to do that. So I'm going to have to take this angle iron off the front, and that'll only give us a 1/2 inch braking edge, but it'll allow the panel to set in a little bit more, and we'll create that second brake. With that end pinched down, in this case I'm only going to do one panel at a time, because it is a bit tricky to pinch this without it moving out. Boom. Break that up. And there we go. We created ourselves a little offset. Now I overbent it a bit. We can take and move that back down a bit. Sorry about that. There we go. So now, if you can imagine, this is the trunk floor. It's going to sit down right into that little reveal we created. It will create our little spot welds in that trough. I'm going to finish this piece up. I'll head over and I'll show you how to create a small flange using basically an anvil and a hammer. Just get this into place, see how it looks. I need to make a few adjustments here in the front. Okay, so I started scribing and cutting this corner away, but I'm also going to create some flanges on this area, on this panel here, that we can turn over and weld it to this sheet that we put into this area here. It's not going to be a butt joint, it'll be a flange for our spot welds. Okay, that's fitting really well. We can now take and roll this flange over so that we can mate up with this panel here, and then we'll get this fitted into place. What I've done right now is I've scribed the bend line for this bottom flange here, and we're going to roll over about 3/8 of an inch, maybe half an inch at the most, into a horizontal plane to pick up the outside fender. And then we'll have an air gap in between with maybe a hole at the end here, so if any moisture does get in, it'll drain out very easily. In terms of bending over this flange, we do have a tipping wheel for this, we have other tools for this, but I just want to show you for you guys that don't have a tipping wheel, you can use any hard surface that has the edge taken off so it's not sharp, and you can basically work that over. You have a flat surface here, we can work that over nice and gentle and create the same effect as if you had a tipping wheel. I'm not bashing it over right away first shot. I'm just starting a simple crease into this panel here. You have a radius corner on the outside so it doesn't dig into the panel as well. You can basically create something like this yourself if you needed to. The other thing is I want a nice soft radius like this to be reflected down here as well. I don't want a sharp bend. I'm just taking the hammer and just kind of glancing it off the metal, and it's just rolling it over gently and giving us a nice smooth finish. I'm not creating hammer marks into the panel. Almost there. So now I'm going to clean it up. There we go. Nice, smooth, finished edge. Looks like a machine did it. Now, if you keep hammering this edge and peating it too much, you're going to compress all this metal, creating more material. You'll actually create an arch in this area, which is something you don't want to do. Then you have to go back, shrink it, and then bring it back to where it needs to be. Here, we've got a nice flat surface. There, it's just flat. So now we can get this piece installed. Bring the other piece up into place once we have the bottom flange rolled, and get a couple fasteners into here and get this mocked up on this side. Well, how does that look, guys? All the pieces are coming together. Our flanges are mating up very nicely here. Got the bottom flange rolled on this section through here. This has been clamped to the trunk floor, and that's come out really nice right now. That's going to come down just a little bit. Okay, so for me to make these pieces up here, I have to take and trim away some of this material on these parts here. And for me to do that in the car, it's really tough. So I'm going to unclamp everything, take the screws out, do it outside, and put it back in. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the front there, bring that tub down, and see where we need to make the flanges for this on these pieces in the front. Okay, we're going to leave that for now. Take that off. Okay, nip that out for the fuel neck. Okay, I've got these two pieces installed. I created the flanges, basically by turning them inwards so you don't see when you look in from the trunk. There. Now I can put the screw in. Oh! Don't worry, didn't get myself close though. Bingo. Okay, well, that's come together really nice. We've got this blanked off here for the fuel neck. That's been closed off. We've got the wheel tub completed. It basically comes down and joins up with these lower panels. Right now I'm going to take and create the wheel arch, this inner arch here that comes and extends out and picks out the outside skin. Let's get this installed here. Stay. Hey guys, just for curiosity's sake, how many of you tell inanimate objects to stay put? Am I the only person? Put it down in the comments below, let me know. Curious. Ah, there we go. Now we can scribe this outer flange here, just like that. And then we'll add probably 5/8 of an inch, maybe half an inch, just to get this to roll out and pick up this wheel arch here. And we'll just use a hammer and dolly and roll it over. Once this is all tacked in place, we'll just roll that over and basically clamp it to here, and that'll solidify that. Okay, just line up our marks. We'll add an inch at the top, add an inch at the bottom. Okay guys, so there's our piece. We'll cut two pieces out of sheet metal, one for the other side. I'll go ahead and make this rear template up, make sure it works over there, cut the piece out, and then we'll get them installed on the car. Okay, so there might be a little bit of back and forth here in terms of fitting this part. Using some flat pad vice grips so they don't dig into the sheet metal and create a bunch of gouges or lumps and bumps. I need to leave enough material around this perimeter here so we can roll that over, and I also have to make sure that there's enough engagement up into this area. We're going to create an overlap joint here, so that's going to add some strength to this area. Just about long enough. Boom. I'm going to start getting some screws into this, and then we can move back and fit this rear piece. We do have some buckling happening here because this flange basically comes out a bit too far. So we're going to take a hammer and dolly and just massage that around and shrink the upper metal into itself. So that came out really nice. Most of that's plenished out and joining up with this lower piece really nice. A couple of things around this rod where I can't quite get in with the hammer and dolly, but once all the screws are out and this is tacked in place, I'm able to lay a dolly inside here and plenish that out a little bit smoother. Right now the dolly is resting up on the screws and it's preventing me from finishing it properly. So what I'm going to do now is get this side in and basically do the same thing, get it on screws, then we'll roll this whole wheel arch up and around this piece of rod here. Okay, that doesn't fit too bad. We have a transition here from this original wheel well into this new piece that I've created. So I'm going to have to take and create a slight bend just around this radius here to roll over on the outside of this one, just like this one's doing, but then have it come in on the inside of this one. So I've taken and rolled this over, shrunk this lip a little bit just to help it along and blend it into this flat area here. So now we can get this installed. There we go. Finish the rest off with a hammer and dolly. It's coming in closer. I have quite a bit of overlap up here, but I didn't want to shortchange myself. That. You can actually feed that in like that. Okay, that's really close right there. Bring that down, and let's get a clamp on this. Little corner sticking up, but once we start tacking things in place, that'll all clean up. Not worried about that. So right now what I'm going to work on is rolling this flange here that's sticking out past this rod up and over the rod. We're going to use the rod basically as a dolly and roll it over. We'll back it up with a dolly so it doesn't move around too much. Okay, let's get rolling, guys. And I'm basically going to do this in several passes. I'm not going to hammer it over in one shot. Just nice and gentle, roll it over, and we'll have a nice consistent lip here. Well, there you go. Nice edge rolled around. This piece is installed. It blends in with this top wheel tub here. And comes in really nice. It mates up with all these panels back in here. So this lower section's all done. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for this side. Got all the pieces fabricated, installed, and all those big holes have been filled in. Everything's reinforced. It's nice and strong in here now. We're going to get that side cut up. I have all the pieces cut and prepped. It's just a matter of getting them installed. And once that side's looking like this side, except for the fuel door, of course, we're going to do a whole bunch of welding and get everything welded up and basically finalize the back end of the car in terms of structure. Okay, guys, thanks very much for watching and take care. See you next time.